Hello, SRA fans. Welcome to the first and possibly last edition of our SRA Drivers of the Week. My name is Mike Gino, and I am the low and monotone voice you are hearing that is probably better suited for an overnight shift on a jazz radio station rather than a highlight video, but here we are. In this video, I'm going to be highlighting drivers from each division that had great performances that don't necessarily show up in the standings. I'll be moving backwards through the divisions, but saving one division for last that contains our overall driver of the week. And please leave a comment in the comment section if you think I missed anyone that's deserving of a driver of the week shout out. We'd love to highlight them all. So without further delay, let's get into our drivers of the week by kicking it off with the newly formed Division 8. In D8, we saw Matthew Enriquez take home the gold win with JP May taking home silver. Two honorable mentions for driver of the week were Jason Yarin, who had a clean drive up to P5 from P9, and as well as Rookie F, who started in 19th and gained 9 positions to sneak into the top 10. However, our D8 driver of the week is Edwin Yip. Edwin gained 7 positions starting the race in P13 and finishing 6th. Edwin threw the phrase championships aren't won in turn 1 right out the window in this one, gaining a ton of positions off the start. He had a great jump off the line, and you can see coming into turn 1 he hugs the inside and will gain a few more positions after getting stalled up. There's a little bit of contact made in front of him and he scoots by those few. He's going to give a little love tap here to Cumber on the outside, but no harm there. And from here, he kept his cool throughout the race and managed to keep position to bring it home in P6. From our first D8 race to our first D7 race, we saw Al Honda and Justin Karen take home the gold and silver divisions respectively. This was probably the hardest division to pick one driver for driver of the week, so we have a couple honorable mentions. First is Ian Goldcrest, who had a great recovery race. He started in 21st and fell down to 30th. Then he managed to get his car back up to P17. And we had Caden McCoy, who gained 8 spots, starting in 12th and finishing just outside the podium in 4th. And lastly, we have Michael Muchacho, who grabbed the 3rd step in the podium after starting P7. And finally, our D7 driver of the week is Mr. Brandon Radler. Brandon gained 10 positions in this race from start to finish and had some great overtakes throughout the race. Lap 3 is where we saw Brandon first get into the action. He takes a nice inside line here on turn 9 to get around his opponent. Unfortunately, 2 laps later, he gets caught up in a little accident here in the final corner of the track. He continues forward though. He gains most of his positions in this race doing clean laps in open track, but he does get one final pass here on lap 27, and that concludes his race and brings him home in P6. We'll be skipping D6 and returning to them shortly. For now, we have Division 5, where our gold winner was Darren Wicks, and our silver winner, and actually the overall winner, was Jordan White. Our honorable mentions for driver of the week in D5 are Julio Ortiz, who moved from 21st all the way up to P6, Lane Yates, who started in 26th and got up to 10th, Michael Magenheimer, who started in 33rd and moved up to 24th, and Scott Smith, who went from 7th to the 2nd step in the podium. DJ Watts is our D5 driver of the week. If you looked at DJ's starting position of P9 and finish position of P7, you wouldn't think it was an eventful race, but it was definitely far from that. In lap 1, we see Watts in the beautiful Van Gogh-inspired livery here get bumped into turn 2 and spins, unfortunately sending him all the way back into the back of the field. We see what is setting up to be the start of his comeback at the end of lap 1 as he makes an inside pass here on Miz. As he completes the pass into turn 10, I like to point out that I don't compliment Champion Motorsports that often, but I think this is my favorite livery for this season. Tragedy unfortunately strikes again for Watts on lap 3 as he gets boom smacked there and does a nice 360 recovery. Watts gains most of his positions in clean laps, but on the final lap he gets one more pass around Cube Master here, and he gets one more bump for old time's sake to really complete the race. Cube does slow down on the straightaway though, but that ends Watts' really good ride up the field. D4. Henrique Lustosa and Ethan Marvin are your gold and silver winners. Our honorable mentions for driver of the week were Max Diggs, who gained 14 positions taking his car from 24th to 10th. Pascal Elspas was a close second for driver of the week. He drove from 23rd to 8th with some great passes throughout the race. And last season's Division 5 winner Sean Daniels had a great start to D4, gaining 14 positions from 27th all the way up to 13th. Your D4 driver of the week, though, is Robbie Toddy. Robbie had a great recovery drive like Watts in D5. Robbie started this race all the way back in 37th and moved all the way up to 24th by avoiding the lap 1 carnage that was the D4 race. We see him pick off a few positions here on the lap 1 straight. But then lap 2 comes and Robbie gets just tapped in the back there and spins it around, losing all his positions back to the back of the field. And then one lap later, Robbie spins himself and loses even more time, unfortunately. But all those incidents set the stage for Robbie's amazing comeback here that truly earned driver of the week. He pitted pretty early, got some clean laps in under his belt, and got his car back up to P20, which technically nets him 30 positions gained with the spins this race. Up next is Division 3, which is the best division. It's also known as the Admin's Retirement Home. Our gold winner was Dae-hee Yoon, and our silver winner was Douglas Mitchell. Our honorable mentions are Doug Lee, who went from 38th to 22nd, Justin Ficker, who went from 11th to 4th, and Landshark, who started 12th, but unfortunately got caught up in a lap 1 incident, sending him to the back of the field, but still finished strong in 19th. I'll also add an additional honorable mention for Mr. Douglas, back-to-back champion without ever winning a race, Mitchell, who crossed the finish line first for the first time in SRA, but unfortunately got a penalty applied and will get bumped back to just taking the silver win. Our D3 driver of the week, though, is John Carbo. I feel like it should be Carbaugh, but the pronunciation sheet says Carbo. John finished just outside the top 10 in 11th place after gaining 15 positions from starting in 26th. We can see on lap 1 that John dodges the chaos on the exit of turn 2. On lap 3, we see John make a pretty overtake here on the inside of turn 9. John makes this pass on sector 3 of lap 8 look pretty easy as he gets by the inside of Jack Polyak approaching the final corner. Not a ton of action for John in the middle and ending portions of this race. He gets a few more overtakes down the straightaway, this one on the lap car of Turner Johnson, but he has a clean drive to the end of the race. On to D2, we see our gold winner is Grant Klinsing and our silver winner is Colin Madiak. D2 is where we start to see it's getting a lot harder to gain those massive amount of positions that we've seen in some of the lower divisions. So our honorable mentions are a bit harder to pick, but we've picked Cody Platt, who started in 29th and moved up to 16th, and Colin Madiak, who took home the silver win, who moved up 10 positions in his return to SRA, starting in 16th and finishing in 6th. Your D2 driver of the week, though, is John Archie with Ghost Rider Racing Bendy Brew. John moved up 9 positions in this race from 14th to 5th. John had some amazing highlights in this race, but in particular, I'm going to highlight this battle between himself and Colin Madiak. These two were together since the beginning of the race. Colin in that green and white, and John Archie in that Ghost Rider black and purple car. John tries to make a move down the inside, and now a little bit of side-by-side racing going into the final sector here. John takes the inside, takes the position away, and going into the final corner, he keeps that position going down the front straight. Then on the following lap, we see Madiak get a great run down the straightaway here. He makes the pass on the inside, but then John Archie comes right back on the inside of him going to turn 9. Really close racing there. Good car control by both drivers, both holding their lines nicely. John does still stay ahead on this corner. Madiak lines up an overtaking move by taking a wide approach. Gonna get a run off the corner. Do a real close racing. But John is gonna hold that position for now. Going to second to last corner. John drifts a little bit wide there. Madiak sees an opening and dives down the inside. And is gonna take that position. A little tap, but all fair. Then on lap 4, we're gonna see Archie take a break from this battle and come into the pits early. But then jumping all the way to lap 21, who do we see coming out of the pits? It's Colin Madiak. So these two are rejoined together once again. 8 laps later, we've seen that John has reeled in Madiak, makes a pass here on the inside, and although Madiak won that first battle, John Archie won the war. It was some great battling by both drivers, and whoever won that was going to be my driver of the week. And now we move on to Division 1, SRA's top division. We saw that Michael Moning took home the gold win, and Matt Lieben took home silver. Our honorable mentions for driver of the week are Ed Kerstetter, who had an amazing race from 11th place all the way up to 3rd, and then Joseph Kostovic gained 8 positions from 17th all the way up to 9th. The driver of the week for Division 1, though, is Jeffrey Bray. Jeffrey gained 11 places in this race, which is the most for D1. He started in 21st and drove all the way up for a top 10 finish in P10. On lap 5, we see Jeffrey trying to make a pass here on Kelvin Lau. In turn 9 going to turn 10, he's got the outside. He's going to hang around wide on the outside, hooking that car around, still staying side by side with Kelvin. And then going into turn 12, he holds the inside and clears. On lap 20, we see Jeffrey making a move on the outside on the straight, moving that car around the outside, and then just squeezes in before the track limits. Car behind him gets a little spooked by that, I would too, goes wide, completes the pass there. And then on lap 29, we see his TSC conglomerate mate with those really annoying team names that are way too similar get into a little trouble, lets him by on the straight. You got Team Car Vroom Drive and Team Drive Car Vroom, very confusing. And finally, our Spotlight division for Week 1 of SRA Season 7. It's Division 6. Our gold winner was Henry Garcia, and our silver winner was the return of Durban Legacy. And our honorable mentions go to Justin Sacombe, who went from 11th to 4th, and Roger Rodriguez, who went from 19th to 10th. But D6 gets this week's spotlight by one driver who dominated in the midfield and earned the Week 1 overall driver of the week. It's Harrison Channing. If you were driving in D6 this week, you were probably passed by Harrison at some point. I think I was passed by Harrison at some point, and I was racing in D3. Harrison had the most wheel-to-wheel passes I think I've ever seen in my short time at SRA. So to show this, I've sped up his passes in double time and added a counter to the screen. Harrison also started 34th, so he had a lot of ground to work with. So lap 1 we see his first pass. Lap 3 is his second pass. He comes down the inside of the straight, and he completes that one. And then moving on one more lap later to lap 4, down the inside again. Makes that one look easy. And let's skip ahead a couple laps to lap 7, down the front straight. He can do it here too. Around the outside, clears that one. Moving on another lap to lap 8 on the outside of the straightaway. He's going to hold that and driver lets off. I'd be scared of him too. Lap 10, easy pass there on the inside. Lap 13, cuts to the inside. Driver goes wide on the inside, turn 9, clears. That's another one. Lap 14, how about some sector 1 action? Inside, clear. Whew, lap 19. This is a big one. Down the outside there, make that one. Can we get another one? Inside on the screen, Ferrari. That's another one. Now we're up to 10. He's going to pit. Get all this action out of the way. But of course, when he comes out of the pits, he's behind a whole bunch of cars he's going to have to pass again. So we got plenty more chances. Now we're on lap 24. Car goes wide. I'll take that one. That makes 11. Lap 25 around the outside. Nope. How about the inside here? Hook it around. Inside, inside, inside. Clear. Oh boy. Same straight. Lap 25 on the inside. Clear. That's 13. Now we're at lap 30. Another straightaway pass. He's clear. That's 14. And then going down the front straight. Going on 31 into lap 32. Switches over to the inside. Gets the inside done. And then that's it. That's 15 wheel-to-wheel passes. So a great drive there by Harrison. He finished up in P17. But congratulations to all our drivers of the week for Season 7, Round 1 of SRA. You all had great performances, and congratulations to everyone too. It was a great week of racing for the first week of the season. And I know that for a fact because I watched through way too much footage for this week than I should have, but I enjoyed every second of it. And that concludes this week's Drivers of the Week. Please reach out to me if you have any suggestions for future weeks if we do this again. Good luck to everyone next week at Spa, and I hope you race like you're trying to win Driver of the Week. Thanks for watching.